We've been busy. What have you all been up to this week? Nobody? Nothing?
Busy as well.
Extremely busy, and I finally got to release a secret I've been holding for a year and a half. So excited about releasing or showing our new vehicle that we added to our fleet at the
Yeah,
funeral
they was like
home.
push on stun. I'm like, now the only time you get to ride is in that is when you're deceased, but it is a way to go.
Yes, yes, it's a custom built 2023 hearse. Took a year and a half to build because of the pandemic. A lot of supplies, are hard to come by. But yeah, just trying to give something to the community that they can be proud of.
Yeah, you just yeah, that was real boss.
Really
Like,
was.
look, is it any way you can ride in it a lot? Like, how could that go? Or do you take? You don't really like incorporate that with any other theme. It's just fly. It's fly,
Yeah,
but it's like
yeah,
it's
yeah. It's a
like
little stylish for a funeral. It looks vintage, but
it
it's brand
does.
new. Yeah,
It
so it's
really
giving a
does.
little vintage feel, but you with a traditional funeral service, but at the same time giving you a little something stylish and current.
And see, so for me, something stylish with the funeral that would kind of, the horse and carriage is one thing. Like that kind of
Yes,
changes the vibe. It doesn't make it as just it really get style lives forever. So
right.
I think like when people do transition and you can honor them in that type of way in ways that kind of take the sting away and really send them off in a man, what? I
And
want
it actually
that.
is better than the horse and carriage. I hate to say it, but with the horse and carriage, we can only take you for 2 miles.
Mm,
So most times you're going from like the edge of the cemetery
mm-hmm.
to into the
Mm-hmm.
cemetery. With this hearse, you can use it from the beginning to the end. So it's giving more bang for your buck.
I like that. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll keep that in mind. If I go first, I want to be in that because that's fly. All right. So that was something that you did this week. Anything interesting that you guys did? Anything that we should know about?
Well, I'm always working, and
Yeah.
every Friday, we had a good,
Frying that
we
fish.
had a after five fish fry. I think I'm gonna make a actual weekly thing, but it was an adult fish fry.
Oh.
BYOB. Bring your own beer, bring your own bottle, and if you don't drink, bring your own Bible. I mean, you got a Bible study in the
Whatever
car,
you want to
but
bring.
yeah, just bring it. You know what I'm saying? But it
Okay.
actually was really cool. Some nice little wine, and each person that bought some got some wine, and then just the regular working of work. You know what I'm saying? So
Fish fries are lit, and I don't even eat seafood, but I just my family used to do fish fries, and it's just the energy that they bring.
it does with the old school music. I mean, we
Yeah.
had like the Southern Soul going in the background. You know what I'm saying? Just made you want to eat fish and lick your fingers and talk loud. After a long week.
Sounds like a good time to me. Eddie, what you do? You little sleep over there. You
It's more
must have
work.
really been working.
It's more work in between working on some
More some
background
more
stuff
work.
that I'm got working.
That's vital.
That's
Like
it.
being vital is work, mo work, fun work, hard work. So you was working like that too.
Yeah, it's always busy at build up, as Mr. B can attest to. But I spent this weekend kind of boring. I'm still teaching my daughter how to drive, so she
Me
just got her
too.
permit. So
Yes.
we jumped on the interstate for the
Oh, we
first
ain't
time
doing all
today.
that.
So
Okay.
teaching her how to merge.
How was that?
It was nerve wracking for me, So and plus, my car's still decent looking, so I'm trying to,
To keep it that way.
I'm trying to stretch it as long as I can.
That let me add that to the list. That we did do some driving this weekend. She drove to church this morning. Did pretty good. I was like, baby, you are a rookie though. You're going too fast. Slow down.
So true story about that. Like I got all girls, right? So
Yes.
my girls are in used to be in they're in sororities, right? But they used to have to go from Alabaster to UAB
Mm-hmm.
to go to the meetings. And so I used to make them take 31.
Okay.
You're gonna take 31, right? And one day they called me like, Dad, because they have to report, we here.
Yeah.
So they called like, Dad, we here. I say, you where? They're like, I say, UAB? Looked at my watch. How you got the UAB that fast? Well, Tay decided to take the interstate because they riding together, right? So she threw her sister under the bus.
Oh.
Tay decided to take the interstate. I said, well, you know what?
You
As
made
long as I
it.
wasn't in there, you made it. And since that day, they've been riding on the interstate. So,
Just has to happen.
I got to trust the process.
I don't remember my first time driving on the freeway. I don't know. I don't know. My parents went in the car. I don't know how that went. You remember yours?
Mine went like, I don't know if y'all remember on Clueless when Dion got on the interstate for the first time and had her friends in the car.
Oh,
I did the same thing. and it was extremely scary. We actually only went from Oxmoor to Green Springs, so it's just like a few miles, but it was terrifying.
What made you do it with your friends in the
Them.
car? Them.
Yeah, they were
And-
like, "You can do it. You drive well. You can do it. You
And
can
see,
do
they
it."
crazy enough. That's teenagers. You crazy
Uh-huh.
enough to not know enough to let somebody tell somebody they can do it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh goodness
I was
gracious.
my granddad, he's a fan of fundamentals. So my granddaddy
like
taught me
that.
how to drive in the local cemetery. He was like, you need to know how to do these turns, you need to know how to do these rights, you need to know how to do this backing up. So it's like I had all of that down pat of just riding little circles and stuff, because he was like, it's easy to drive like straight. But
Yeah.
you know, when you start getting into these turns and these lefts and these rights, you need to know how your car work with the turns, with the brakes,
But
with
not
all
a
this.
parking lot. We're gonna go to the cemetery.
That's what I mean.
Tombstones out.
It was just a
They
really
already
big.
did.
It was just a really big area that didn't have
Okay.
that much. It wasn't that much. He felt like, I guess,
Dwayne said they
resistance
already
in the
did.
environment.
So
You know what I mean?
okay.
But when I got on the interstate, the first time by myself. Like I didn't have it just wasn't a big deal. And also I grew up in like a very rural, like just it was empty. Like it was never any traffic on the interstate. It was never anybody out on the road. So it was low risk. Everything was low
Steve,
risk.
what else, Steve? Mac? Low risk it was. Does anybody listening remember when they started driving and the first time they jumped on the freeway? So you brought something up. I don't remember that, but I do remember going to get my license. I wanted to surprise my parents, and my homeboy had the same car that we had a Camry. Went to go get my license, drove around a mail truck, and of course didn't get it. You're not supposed to do that. Yeah, you're not supposed to do that. You just wait and go behind. I went around during the test. They was like, "I don't go back to the courthouse." Go back to the courthouse. I went back then. My parents took me and I got it. That's all I remember. Other than that,
So mine is horrible. though.
driving.
My first remember recollection of driving was like the first time I drove.
mhm.
It was this green. You remember the Maverick? Remember the Maverick? So I drove a green Maverick.
No, we don't remember the
I went to make a turn in some kind of way. When people teaching you how to drive and they yell in your ear,
Oh yeah.
it makes you nervous.
Yeah.
Yeah, and some kind of way the Maverick turned, hit the curve, and the front of the Maverick ended up in the corner of a building. So that was really, really not cool. So I was really scared to drive after that. And then I took driver's ed in school.
Okay.
And after I took driver's ed in school, they took us, but I went to school in LA.
Mhm.
So driving on LA freeway traffic is
Worse than Atlanta?
something serious. Yeah, everybody moves fast. No, but Atlanta is a
It's
race
worse.
course.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
Atlanta is way worse than I thought California was bad, but Atlanta is, yeah. You need a helmet in Atlanta.
Yeah. Dang, into a building.
Yeah.
Whole first half of the show, we just reflected. Think about the first time you drove. What was that like? Who was in the car? Or you been driving all along because you used to steal the car? I'm just trying to see what it was and how you started. Because some of y'all drive like you just started. I see you. I be out there. And then had a nerve to text and drive and apply makeup and drive and eat and drive. All that. Okay. All right. Anything else? What happened in the news this week? I'm sure some things have happened. I saw a couple things. Rick Ross bought Meek Mill's $4.2 million Atlanta mansion with cash. Who got $4.2 million? Did he really have cash, like 20s, 100s, 50s type cash? Is that what that means?
Go to the bank and get this cash.
4.2 million. Okay. Then somebody else rich, two more rich people did some stuff. Jeff Bezos pours cold water on buying Commanders franchise with Jay-Z. Yeah, like, did he do that? Like, literally, did he pour what? I don't know, but yeah. Morgan Freeman calls Black History Month in African American terms an insult. All of this happened this week. I'll share some of these stories. Last but not least, in Chicago, about 17 people were arrested for turning up in the park, Millennium Park. 2 teenagers were shot, 16-year-old, 17-year-old. Neither of them died, one in the arm, one in the leg. But their mayor basically says the same thing that our mayor said when they were acting. Teens were being teens and doing what teens do. Parents, you should know where your children are and what they're doing. That's what Lori Lightfoot said.
But that's a whole nother subject. But in that, we want to send prayers up for Jamie since we're talking.
Jamie Foxx.
Yeah, Jamie Foxx, since we're talking.
What happened over the week?
Yeah,
and like
famous people.
Yeah. Because they be doing some stuff. Let's see.
Dadeville, Alabama. They had a shooting last night.
And where?
Dadeville.
Dadeville, Alabama. I
Hmm.
think it's like 30 minutes outside of Montgomery, I
Mhm.
understand.
Mhm.
Having a birthday party. Brother was killed. 4 other people, well, 3 other people were killed, so it's 4 in all that were killed. 20 were injured, I believe. But yeah, it was not a good look for Dadeville last night. So prayers
Mm.
up for them, and also prayers up for the families in Tuscaloosa. 17-year-olds killed at prom driving a Tesla,
Yeah.
pinned under a 18-wheeler. So
Yes.
yeah.
My church member made an announcement today, just kind of reminding the teen, like we were talking about driving, saying, this is always, we're so vital. It just happens this way. But she made an announcement just reminding teens to be careful. We have two learning drivers and then somebody that's going to prom that just started driving too. Just encouraging them to be mindful of what's happening around you. And I mean, honestly, I saw a post today that said, why not get them a chauffeur? Get somebody to drive them to prom.
And actually, that's crazy you say that because when my children were in school, I actually chauffeured some of their friends and things of that nature.
Yeah.
In letting them, because and a lot of times they don't want chauffeurs because they want the independence or they want to go other places or do things that. But
Okay.
when you a actual, like we talk about parents, well, guess what? I'm about to get dressed up. We going to the prom. I might not have to come in and do that embarrassing dance, but we about to go to prom because
Yeah.
I'm gonna open the door for you and be there and stand there. When you come on out, I'll go somewhere.
Yeah.
Come on out. Let me know what time you're ready. Take it to eat, open the door, all that good stuff. So.
You just got to be a cool parent.
And a moment like this will definitely change the culture.
Yeah.
Prom moving
Yeah.
forward. Like parents are going to be ensuring that like we have something that will keep the children from being at risk in
Right.
moments like this.
Right. Yeah. So thinking about we still have proms to go. There are others that are going to be taking place. So that's something for parents and guardians and family members to think about. Prom send-offs. Yeah, we're gonna come to the send-off and then we're gonna drop you off just to be on the safe side. But one thing for sure, I always talk about allowing our children the space to live. Like we don't want to be so overbearing and so scared for them to live that we don't allow them to live. Like I don't want us to make that mistake either. So we have a lot to do, a lot of responsibility as parents and a lot of pressure and educators as well. So in studio, let's get straight to who we have. We have Mr. James Sutton in the real studio, and in the virtual studio, we have Mr. Anthony Beckett, Mr. B from Build Up. So welcome to the show, gentlemen.
Thank you so much for having us.
For sure. So Build Up. I like the name of it, and that says a lot just off top. But Mr. Sutton, go ahead and tell us a little bit about Build Up. Just what is it?
Yeah, well, thanks so much, Wu, and for everything you do for the community as well.
Thank you. You're welcome.
Yeah, Build Up is a private workforce development high school located in Titusville. Started in the Inslee community.
Inslee.
Yeah, Inslee in the building. But it's in Titusville now. We have our permanent facility. But it's essentially a school that really tries to train students in the trades. One of the big factors for our school and drivers is trying to stabilize communities, but also trying to generate generational wealth.
Okay.
And one of the ways we do that is by trying to give students a high demand, demand and high paying job skills in trades, and also setting them up for home ownership.
Love it. We end the cycle of poverty. We put a stop to poverty and begin a new cycle. And I think that's so important. I post maybe every month or so, poverty is sad. That's the post. I post that maybe once a month. So I'm glad that you all are in place to do that. When you think about schools that people know Parker, we know Ramsey, we know Huffman, we know Nona Carver, we know the public schools, but then you have other schools coming up, and there are tons of questions that people have about other schools and other learning academies and institutions. The charter school, the public what does that mean? So would Build Up fall into that category?
Yeah, we're actually a private school. So
okay.
Yes. So you have to actually pay tuition. Tuition is a part of our kind of model. So that's a lot different than a charter school model, which they still get state funds. But I think even with charter schools and private schools, we are another option for families and students who a public school just doesn't really work for. We've had a lot of people come to Build Up simply because they just felt in some cases unsafe in certain schools, or
Mm.
they felt like they weren't getting the type of attention that they wanted to get in their school. So with us, we have smaller class sizes because we're a smaller school. So
Okay.
they're going to get that direct hands-on attention from teachers and faculty.
Okay. Those are all great points. Mr. B, tell us a little bit about what it is that you do with Build Up.
Absolutely. And again, thank you as well for having us. My name is Anthony Beckett, Mr. B, the Dean of Culture at Build Up. So I pretty much work with our students and parents with getting them from freshman year all the way through graduation, and really working with our teacher team with the curriculum and design and implementation for them to gain those skills that Mr. Sutton just spoke on.
Okay.
So a lot of my work is establishing that culture of the school, how we interact from student to teacher, teacher to teacher, and student to student, but then also being an integral part in bridging the gap between school and community.
Okay. So you said the Dean of Culture.
Yes.
Now, when we hear culture, I go straight to hip hop, blackness, urban living. When you say
Mhm.
culture, what does that encompass?
It is truly that, and that what you stated and so much more. So I look at academic culture, I look at cultural relevancy and cultural competency amongst our teachers and amongst our students. So they're also understanding where we are presently today as people, as a culture, and then where we're trying to go by the end of their time here at Build Up, by the end of their time with post high school education, or also career acquisition.
Okay.
And so basically what I really do is try to, again, help our teachers, help our students meet each other where everyone is and build each other up where we need to go. So there is that infusion of our hip hop culture. So our social emotional learning curriculum is actually Black owned and Black centered, specifically focusing on We Do It for the Culture. That's
Okay.
the actual name of the curriculum. So it's really taking a lot of the things that we've seen in everyday life, but then presenting it in a curriculum through a hip hop lens or African American centered culture. Other aspects of the culture is in aligning with our core values: community, ownership, resilience, and excellence.
Mhm.
So our core values, and each of those core values have become more than just a word. They become living things within our school. We actually have the house system that the students have kind of now aligned with Hogwarts in the Hood. So each house is actually translated to another language. So community is translated to Chinese for Shekchi. Ownership is translated to German for Eigentum. Resilience is translated to Swahili, which is Uthabiti, and excellence is translated to Japanese, which is Yushu. And so each of those houses are collective of all the students which are dispersed randomly along with teachers, faculty, and staff. And we basically work with them outside of the classroom. So there's always a sense in a community of belonging with.
That's huge. That deserves applause just because of the idea that it's so like the breakdown. The houses of Hogwarts. That's off of Harry Potter, ain't it?
Yes.
See, so like the incorporation of all these different things. Dwayne, I know you're in the schools and you've been in different schools in different settings, but what he just explained as far as the cultural piece and adding that to the academia, what does that say to you just from hearing that piece?
I think it's very fresh. It's very refreshing that someone would take that initiative to go out and not do the norm, because one of the things that we have to understand is that culturally what's been taught haven't been the best thing to teach, and the things that were best taught to our culture or to the people that looks like us or that's going to grow up and be us were the manual labor and the things of that nature.
Yeah.
And they took those out of school because for whatever reason. And so they knew that those were things that they could have and become homeowners and have decent jobs, skilled labor. That's the word I'm looking for. They took the skilled labor positions out of there. Now they're trying to bring them back. The barber shops and the auto repair persons and the HVC in high school. These kids need to gain this, because what I told somebody today is that it's also about us and doing what we call generational,
Right.
locking them in, because every time you look on a bulldozer, every time you look at large equipment operators, right?
Mhm.
Very rarely, sometimes you see us, but if you see us, somebody other than us taught them, or they were friends of somebody
Yeah.
like us,
Yeah.
or their dad taught them on a form, on a. It's like, how do you know? But not, they may not know all the components of what's going on in the build out, but they know the orange sticks mean this, the
Right.
red, yellow sticks mean somebody taught them how to dig, what to dig, where to dig. But these are skilled manual labor jobs that are high paying
Yeah.
and that can't know anybody. I mean, just think about the man you see on the highway at night rolling with. Do you know how to drive?
Flaggers
You know what I'm
and
saying?
all
Do you know? I'm talking about the
Mm-mm.
with the asphalt. Do you know how to roll
Nope.
asphalt into what, how to get it and what depth and where to put it and stuff like that, and what street needs to be what? So these are things that can be manual labor, but I'm talking about, I had one come to my truck. He had so much money in his pocket. You'd have thought he was what you deem as a drug dealer or whatever. And he no, man, I work in the
See?
mine. One dude work in the mine, and the other one's like, oh, yeah, we build streets at night. You know what I'm saying?
Uh-huh.
So these are things that they can have. I'm sorry.
So what's happening is we're building up to get more information about Build Up. And we come back from our first break, we're going to get back with Mr. Sutton and Mr. B to learn more about what's happening at Build Up, what the community can do, and how you can be a part of, or your student can look into Build Up for the next school year. We'll be right back. You're listening to Vital on B94.9 WATV.
Yeah, House 9 through 12.
I wouldn't have it on air, but what's the cost?
Build it. Somebody had to design it
Yeah.
and to actually create the plans and put the structure together.
Right.
Every building we go into now has electricity. So somebody had to wire that building. Hopefully every building you go into has working functional plumbing, right?
Yeah, hopefully.
So these trades are not going anywhere,
right.
right? Even as we advance with technology, you're going to still be dependent and relying on trades. So, but what's also fascinating is that there's a massive decline in job trade. So a lot of people aren't going into trade. So as kind of boomers and that generation starts to retire, younger people are not going into those jobs. And there's a huge gap.
Mhm.
And our school is really trying to speak to that gap because those jobs are not going anywhere and they pay significantly.
Right. And then when you say they're not going anywhere, the idea that it's so difficult to find people that are qualified and capable. Yeah, I do lights. What? Where'd you go to school to do these lights? Did you go to build them? No, I watched Eddie do them. No, I'm good. I'm gonna go find somebody that went to Build Up. So these things are happening on a daily basis in the classroom.
Absolutely, yeah. So we have qualified tradesmen, craftsmen who are teaching these skills both in the classroom, but we also partner with other entities and organizations that our students go and get credentialed and training from them. So every student leaves Build Up with a minimum of 3 certifications or credentials, including OSHA, which is safety. They have ACE, which used to be called Ready to Work. And, so they're leaving with credentials that are going to allow them to enter the workforce at a higher pay rate.
That's awesome. That's awesome. with the program or with the school like Build Up, the cultural component, the hands-on skills, and the education piece is huge. What are some of the barriers that the students may face, though, that the community, that the community may be able to help with?
That's a huge question, and you and Eddie have helped with that significantly. So all of our students, I would say, on some level, are dealing with some kind of a mental health challenge, whether it's depression or anxiety. We have a lot of students who are dealing with some type of anger or grief. And when you're that young, you're 16, 15 years old, you really don't know how to handle grandma's death. You don't know how to handle a child's death if your child passed away. So a huge part of that is just trying to kind of teach coping skills, teach soft skills. How do you go into a job even though you might be dealing with trauma, you might be dealing with grief? You can't talk to your boss any kind of way, and you have a certain limited number of days to take off. So all of those kind of things are really, really important, because the reality is, for most of our students, they're going to leave our school going straight into the workforce.
Right.
Got to be ready.
So the mental health piece, the support from the community in that way. What about, I know you said the tuition piece. So I want my child to be able to be in another setting, in a smaller classroom setting, with these type skills. I want them to gain those things, but I don't know that we can afford to pay tuition.
Right. Yeah. So private school does kind of scare some people.
Right.
When you hear private, you always think expensive.
$100,000 and a uniform. Here we go.
Right. But, for us, we work with organizations called SGOs, which is scholarship granting organizations. So every parent that meets certain income requirements, their child can get scholarship for the full tuition amount. There's also Alabama state tax credit. Transfer tax credit is actually kind of rooted in a racist law. So in the 1960s, when Brown v. Board passed, and there was white flight in Birmingham and other places, a lot of white folks took their kids out of Birmingham city schools and started Christian academies and private schools. So the state actually gave them money to go
do that.
Yes, to go send their kids to those schools. We're actually leveraging that same law for our students to come to Build Up.
As you should. Okay. I like that, right? That's applause worthy. Okay. So funding, parents, families, that's not an issue when it comes to the educational piece. And then the other stuff for support, people that have skills, support is welcome, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, we have to still raise a lot of money, despite the fact that we do get those scholarship funds, but we do have to raise a lot of money because education is not a money-making enterprise. It takes a lot of money to pay teachers, to pay staff, and to be in a decent, a nice building.
Right.
So, and also for the kind of training we want to give to our students, all of that training costs because we're paying really significant premium prices for the training and support.
Okay. Mr. B, you want to add anything? I know we don't see you, but if you got your hand up, just jump in.
Absolutely. And I think some of the biggest pieces that when we look at barriers, and I think that this has been ongoing just throughout the Birmingham community, just overall community safety. Because again, whenever anything happens within the community, it has a drastic impact on what's going on in the school. So again, that brings back that mental health, the social emotional learning component. So again, when we're looking for those holistic environments that are safe for our students to attend, we also have to be reminded of the communities that the students are returning back to. So a lot of the gun violence that has been happening as of late, those have been huge incidences in areas of concern. And I know, Ms. Wu, you and I have been talking about definitely lifting up our students in areas and out the classroom outside of regular school hours. So any of those opportunities for community partnerships to consistently expose our students to different options, different opportunities, those are also very much so welcome.
Okay, awesome. So there is a need. I'm thinking about my high school experience as we talk about Build Up and about the classroom size, about the curriculum and the different things that we learn by default just because we had some teachers who wanted to teach us other things. But to have a school that focuses on something that can possibly change the whole direction of your family, housing, that is major. You don't have to, that it just takes a lot of pressure off when you know that you have somewhere to live. That's a basic need that is on the hierarchy. That's the basic. So just thinking about that and then adding all these different things like what Ms. B just said, the exposure to culture, the exposure to people who come from neighborhoods just like you, the same neighborhood. I've talked to students at Build Up who did the whole educational journey that I did. Every school that I attended, some of the students have attended those in my same neighborhood. And you can do what I can do. You can do what I've done. So exposure, opportunity, freedom to learn,
Yeah.
honestly.
All of those things are huge. And I heard somewhere recently that Birmingham City has a 30% home ownership rate. So only about 30% of the people who live in the city own their homes. That's a significantly low. And the number one way people generate wealth in this country is through home ownership. And you can't drive up too many streets in Birmingham without seeing a dilapidated or empty home.
Right.
So a huge part of what we want to do is try to acquire some of those homes, have our students participate in the rehabilitation of those homes, and then put them in those homes as owners. That's how you stabilize a community, because the people who live there and are paying a mortgage, they're going to take care of it much more than, say, somebody who can leave anytime.
Yeah.
They're invested and they're generating and building wealth for their families.
Awesome. Any thoughts in studio? You have any thoughts, any questions?
How big are the class sizes?
Yeah, so right now our class size is max 15, and we want to try to keep it that way even as we grow.
You just got to add more classes, huh?
Yeah, we're going to add more classes, add more teachers, which is why we're going to need more funds. But yeah, 15.
What's your ratio on guys to girls?
Good question. We have out of 46 students, I would say about 12 girls. But shout out to all the girls who are picking up tools and saws. We want to see actually more girls in the schools. We want to see more Hispanics in our school. We have 1 Hispanic and 12 girls. Those are areas where we can really, really grow.
Okay.
What's the max capacity for students that y'all have?
We have a capacity on our campus for about 120 students.
Wow.
Yeah, so we got plenty of room to grow. Absolutely. I got 2 solid black male teachers coming in next year, one from Kansas City and one from Philadelphia. One from Philadelphia is a master construction instructor. He is just going to take us to another level. And our humanities teacher coming in is going to be teaching English and history. He's got background African-American studies and poetry. So he's going to just really, really blow us out of the water. So I'm really, really excited about next year.
How old can you be? I'm just trying to see something.
We got space for 9th through 12th grade, but next year we're going to be enrolling rising 9th and 10th grade.
Also not postgraduate. Okay, Mr. B, what were you saying?
Mr. Sutton already got it.
Okay, all right.
That was the biggest thing. Just our enrollment. We specifically focus on rising 9th and 10th grade.
Okay.
So I have a question about on the governmental side, local and statewide. Is there anything that they're doing or that they can do to help push this agenda on that side of the ball?
We have always enjoyed the support of our mayor, Randall Whitford. He's been a huge supporter of the school. He came to our community open house last month, along with 4 other city councilors. All of them have been really, really supportive. So we're super grateful. Our school is located in Councilor Smitherman's district, and she's really, really supportive. Half of our students are in Councilor Tate and Councilor Clark's district. So they're very supportive of us. And Councilor Woods, Councilor Moore, just all of them have been super gracious to Build Up. And we're thankful for them.
Right.
Where exactly are you located in Titusville?
Yeah, good question. 222 6th Avenue Southwest. So same street as Westminster. 6th Avenue Southwest.
Okay. Well, that's a lot of questions. If you have questions, you can call the phone lines 994-8949. A lot of information just provided to you, but we may not have asked what you want to know. You may be a student, you may be a parent that's listening, and you may have questions. So 994-8949 is the number. 994-8949 is the number. While we were in that first half, one of our OG crew members came in. What up, Chuck? Oh, criminal crew members? Whoa. Where have you been?
We can talk about this.
Yes. I would not call you a criminal, I don't think. All right, let's go to the phone lines. Caller, you're in with Vital. Do you have a
Hey,
question?
local.
Hey,
I glad to see you last week, local lady Root.
I know I was happy to see you too. I'm glad we finally linked up. I surprised you, huh?
Yeah, and Neoma too.
Who?
Naomi,
Okay, yes, the other lady that I met.
yes.
Yeah, well, tell them all I said. Hey, I'll stop back by soon.
Hey,
Huh?
you my friend too, local lady Root. I love
Oh,
you.
I
I
love you
care
too.
about you too.
See,
I'm your favorite listener.
you are. I appreciate it. You and my mama. Thank y'all. All right, 994-8949 is the number. 994-8949 number. 849 is the number. Now he got me messed up. 994-8949. Let me get it right for the man calling
Please get it
Snap.
right.
Dang. 994-8949 is the number. I do know the phone number to the radio station. If you have questions or comments for Mr. James Sutton, Mr. Anthony Beckett with Build Up, call in now. Ask your question. Shouts out all the way to Louisiana. Miss Claire. Hey there. Hey, Steve. Again, anybody else is watching and listening, hey to you. Y'all post your comments and questions. So looking at the handout for Build Up, it gives you like all the information. We want to make sure that we cover it while you're listening, because for some people, this is the first time they've ever heard of it.
That's right.
And when you're hearing about something new, you have questions, but I just be listening. I don't want to call in. Okay. So I want to make sure that we're covering everything. I see that there's a life and career path, and then also an academic program. So two different sets of priorities to make sure that the full person is educated.
Absolutely. We absolutely want to speak to the whole person. The academics is the foundation of everything. And I want to say this too. Build Up is differentiated from other schools in that it's really a 6-year process.
Okay.
So the 9th through 12th grade is really kind of just part 2. The other 2 years, a student can enter Jeff State or Lawson State, because we have dual enrollment at the school. So they enter Jeff State, Lawson State to earn additional credentials outside of what they earn while they're with us in the 4 years.
Big.
And then they go and get a job where they're working on that job for at least 2 years, making at least $40,000 a year. And at that point, that's when they qualify for a low interest home loan through Build Up.
So they're earning college credits while they're in the 9th through 12th grade. So they're
Correct.
going into college with
Mhm.
credits.
Right. So they really start the dual enrollment 11th and 12th grade.
Uh-huh.
So while they're in 11th and 12th grade, yes, they're earning college credits.
Yeah, I actually did dual enrollment when I was in high school, and that is an extraordinary program. I was able to graduate from college, a 4-year degree in 3 years. So that is definitely something worth doing.
Absolutely.
I don't remember them.
Then
telling me
adding,
that.
Hmm?
We
but
graduated
then
the
adding
same
to
year.
that is
Hold on, Miss B. I'm trying to check something in the studio.
Yeah, I graduated in 2002 from Carver, and then I graduated 2005 from Clark.
Yeah, they ain't tell me about the early
Dual enrollment. Yeah.
Not then. I started hearing about it later. Maybe I wasn't.
Yeah, shout out to Birmingham Southern and Lawson State.
That's
Yeah.
where you did
I
yours.
started at Birmingham Southern for my 11th grade year, and then 12th grade I went to Jeff State.
Look at that. Okay, Mr. B.
yes, but then adding to that, like you stated, the two priorities were also junior and senior year. They're actually getting work experience while also being dually enrolled at Jeff State or Lawson State, and then also finish their high school program. So they're getting a lot of things accomplished within their first initial 4 years with us. So therefore, when they do decide to go straight into the workforce, they're already coming in with some type of employable skill sets as well.
Awesome. That's huge. So the big question, Build Up. You all are building houses and all this type thing. And somebody said that these students will get a house. Like, are there that many houses to be given students?
There's a lot of houses in Birmingham. We don't own them all.
Okay.
But the goal is to try to acquire as many as we possibly can. And we want to situate our students in a way that they are positioned to take full advantage of the program.
Okay.
So after 6 years, once they meet all the requirements, then they do qualify. And so we actually have our first student. Build Up started in 2018. So we're coming up on that time right now where the first students are starting to be ready to come out and take advantage of the full opportunity. We got our first student who's about to acquire his home. And he lives in Inslee. Super excited about him. I won't say his whole name, but Mr. Washington, we are celebrating the fact that he's about to hit this milestone.
Okay. That is huge. So you go through the program. The program equips you. I want to make sure like we're communicating it the right way. We don't just give you a house because
No.
you come to build up. That's not what happens.
Yeah, and I think that was definitely a part of some early kind of
It was because I was like,
Yeah.
I want to go to build up and get me a house.
Ain't nobody giving away houses. Right?
Okay.
I want to get that straight.
Okay.
No, students position themselves. We train them, we develop them, we support them, but they have to do the work to get to that 6-year point, to earn that job, to earn that income, and then once they hit all the requirements, then they position themselves to get a home loan. They actually have to pay the mortgage. They're gonna have to pay the mortgage. It's gonna be a low interest mortgage.
Mhm.
In Mr. Washington's case, his is gonna be 0%.
Okay.
So he's gonna enter that house with instant equity right off the bat.
And this will be his home.
It will
That
be his
if he
home.
decides to move and upgrade, it's his.
Correct.
I can do that. I can own this home, and now we're starting to break these generational voids
Absolutely.
and all of that you all spoke up in the beginning. We're putting an end to the cycle of poverty.
And he'll be first generation homeowner.
Nice.
And that's huge in itself.
That's what's up.
In
So
the
that
end.
is how you build up.
100%.
And like you said, in Ansley, in our community, and I say our because Ansley is home for
It-
me. So
it is.
that is amazing. And I'm really happy to hear that this program, this school has, like, you look for success stories. People come into the neighborhood, into the community with these ideas. And a lot of times the people that come into the community with these ideas don't look like us. And when they come, it's like, here y'all go. But then when you can see us benefit from it and there's no other stuff connected to it but an education and then an opportunity, I'm with it. So shouts out
It's a
to
white founded organization, but it's black led.
yeah. So
Correct.
it makes a difference. Oh, it makes a difference when you have success stories that actually fit the objectives of the program. So continue with that.
Got a
Continue with
question real
that.
quick.
Sure.
Is it a class or what part of the program help them understand equity and things of that nature, loans and like what part of the program helps them understand that piece?
Yeah. So the math class, and as a private school, one of the things we don't have to do is follow the state curriculum for whatever the state protocol is.
Mhm.
So we actually can mold classes to suit our own interest and curriculum agendas. And a part of that is doing financial math.
Gotcha.
So financial math, we're talking about interest rates. We're talking about, and even outside of loans, we also want our students to become business owners. Like you want to own your own electrical wiring company,
Yeah.
your own construction company. So you have to know how to make a profit. So you have to know when you go to the building supply store, your materials are going to cost this. I just had to do it this weekend for the yard guy who's fixing my fence and cutting it, so he knows how much his materials are going to cost and how much he needs to charge me in order to make a profit. And so that's a part of what we're teaching our students as well.
Is there like a specialty system in which somebody who gravitates toward plumbing versus somebody who gravitates toward electrician, or is it like a baseline knowledge of everything type
Right.
system?
So in the first 2 years, 9th through 10th grade, they're getting a baseline knowledge of all of that. At the end of their 10th grade year, we do what's called a career declaration. So at the end of the 10th grade year, they have assessed, they've hands-on felt, we've had speakers come in, we've had them engage with all these different trades, and then they figure out and decide for themselves. That's why it's all self-sufficiency is one of the core values and things we try to push. So they determine for themselves which aspect they want to take. So by the time they get to 11th and 12th grade, we're setting them up with internships and apprenticeships that align with their own interests.
Okay, gotcha.
Awesome. All
How
right.
many traits are they exposed to?
Well, the fundamentals are going to be masonry, electrical, construction, plumbing. We actually on the campus, I don't know if y'all got a chance to see when you came, but right across the street from our building is going to be a place called Tune Up. So they're going to be doing auto repair
Yes.
shop.
Nice.
So that's going to be online in August. So next year, that'll be another option and another career path for them. So you're looking at 5 or 6 different
Nice.
career paths. We're going to be using the VR headsets. So they're going to be learning virtual reality with construction and electrical. They'll be doing all that hands-on and in virtual reality.
Okay. So if you're looking for an educational option, somewhere that you just need, maybe you just need to walk through and get your fire reignited. I mean, I'm excited about hearing, like, being in the space, doing what I'm doing is one thing, but then being able to hear about what is happening outside of what I'm doing is amazing. So if parents and guardians and people in the community want to get more information or want to see about enrollment, what should they do?
Well, they should go and call Mr. B. No, I'm just kidding. Go to
But
buildup.work. All the requirements for entering the school are listed right on the homepage of the website. So all the documentation that we'll need from them, particularly for those who will be able to access those scholarship funds, everything is listed on the website. We also do an open house every Thursday from 4:30 to 6:30. So anybody who wants to see the space in person will be on campus every Thursday from 4:30 to 6:30 and be able to guide you, give you a guided tour.
Okay. Mr. B, you got anything else you want to add?
You can also follow us on our various social media platforms. We're on Facebook and Instagram, as well as LinkedIn, buildup_Birmingham, BHM, buildup_BHM, excuse me. And you'll be able to find us there to actually see some of the action of what we're doing at the school, and then also those opportunities for open house, community outreach events, so you can find us out in the community to have also additional one-on-one conversations about what we offer and how to enroll your child.
Wonderful. Gentlemen, thank you all so much for this.
Thank you so much.
For
No
sure.
problem. Thank you.
Yes, we end the cycle of poverty, and Build Up is just one other way that we can start giving back to our young people. They need as many options as we can think of. I think we've had opportunities, and I think for us to have to be in this space, we know that we figured something out. Somebody helped us along the way and gave us a different opportunity. Maybe it was not the traditional classroom setting, the traditional school. Even the hours are different at Build Up. We didn't talk about that. What are the hours?
9 to 4.
Yeah,
9 to 4. So school starts at 9.
I love that.
And I took shop class, but when I got to high school, they had VOTEC, what
Uh-huh.
they call VOTEC. And there's not good stigma around VOTEC. You didn't want to go to VOTEC because there was a stigma that the kids who did were not smart.
Hmm.
And looking back, we were kind of being pushed all to college.
Yeah.
And there's nothing wrong with college.
Yeah.
But it was nothing wrong with VOTEC either. And that's one of the things we want to make sure we correct.
Let's correct that, because if I have to call, you have to call around and make Facebook posts asking for a good mechanic, a good electrician, a good plumber, a dependable whatever. And it's so hard to find people. And then you talk about engineering and contracting. What? There's a need, there's a void, and I think our young people can feel it. I think so. I'm confident. I am confident. So buildup.work, 205-847-4086. If you want more information, want to check it out, you need an educational option for your young person, this may be the one for you. Have Keith Williams got a comment over here from him. An answer to crime is investing in people and giving someone an opportunity to succeed. I think that's a great comment to wrap this portion of the conversation up. Thank you for that, Keith. Hello to Cal, all of you that are commenting and viewing online. Hello to each of you. Coming up in the next hour, we're about to be there. It's the third Sunday. On the third Sundays, we do what? DMR. We talk about dating, mating, and relating. It was in the group, Chuck. There are a lot of things to talk about. I shared a video earlier in the week that talked about polyamory and polygamy. And we're talking about all things new, right? We talked about new educational options. There are also options in relationships, options in marriages. And I'm just trying to see if you all are mature enough and confident enough and comfortable enough to have this conversation. Look at Dwayne. Are we comfortable for this conversation? We're going to explore on the air. We're going to talk about other things, DMR based as well. In just a few minutes right here on B94.9 WATV. Mr. Sun, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you,
Absolutely. Absolutely, Mr. B. Thank you as well. And to all of you who are calling, call back. The phone lines are closed until the next half of the show. We'll be right back in just a few on B94.9 WATV on Sunday nights. The V stands for vital.
WATV, the BBRC.
Check out resident expert in it. Come on. That DMR. You're a resident expert in DMR, right? Yeah.
unmute for our virtual audience. So we're back. We're live and local and lit as ever. And hopefully you got some great information from the first part of the show. I think in studio they like that. Y'all like that, right?
So y'all are talking about like stigmas and all that. Did y'all talk about like the 2-year college system and all that earlier?
Are you talking about the news that broke about the curriculum this week?
No, I'm talking
Okay.
about how generally there was we was talking about like trade and what do you say, VOTEC?
Yeah.
It's very similar to like back in the day when they used to call 2-year colleges like junior college.
Yeah, JUCO
So-
was slow.
Cats couldn't, right. That means you couldn't get into college. But
Yeah.
then what you don't know is you come out 2 years, you got to trade, you can start off $80,000 a year, and then 2 years later you're making like $130 on a trade, like welding. You know?
No, we didn't talk about it, but I'm glad that you said it.
Yeah, okay.
Was there ever a thought for any of us
No.
to go to Chuck?
It wasn't, but that's not because it was stigmatized. It was just like I was on a different path.
Okay, so it's same for me. Like I never said, well, yeah, I go to Jeff State or Lawson. I never thought it. I just always thought 4-year institution, HBC. I knew that.
Yeah.
And I didn't know if I wanted to do Clark, State, or Howard. I ended up at State.
Yeah, and what I do for a living, I could have done in 2 years at Jeff State.
Right. I heard they had one of the
Yeah.
best programs.
They do. I mean, they have the only program here in Alabama, but it is one of the best. It's going to make sure that you pass your national board, which is hard for people in my industry.
Are you going to teach?
Okay.
Okay.
Maybe one day.
Your headphones look so soft.
Well, these
I
are
just saw those. What are
actually earmuffs that
Oh,
are
is that
earphones
alpaca?
as well.
Oh my God.
Is that not that? What is that?
Yeah, you have to block this.
If you're
Okay.
watching, if you're viewing, you can definitely see Kate's earphones,
My bad.
headphones
Oh,
that Chuck
yeah, you
that
good.
look soft.
I forgot. Uh-oh.
I ain't been
Forgot what
myself
they're
here
about.
in a minute. I ain't been here.
I ain't been much. So you just being yourself now.
I'm just being myself.
They're
So-
actually Uggs.
Oh,
Yeah.
Oh, hey, follow her lead.
yeah, I like those.
Good things
Okay.
cost money. Be like the Bush Lawn.
Oh.
Go to JUCO.
Dang,
Go to
okay.
go to
You
Two-Year
you are
College.
definitely being yourself
I'm just
all,
saying.
all in one run.
Okay.
So this is good. We're back. Just kind of recapping that was a good question. Eddie, you didn't answer that. Did you ever consider, well, I want to go to junior college?
No, my grandparents are both teachers and 4-year college graduates, so they definitely groomed us for a 4-year college.
2-year, you hear a lot of athletes going to 2-year school, especially basketball. So that's when I really started hearing a lot about like Wallace State. Everybody, like a whole bunch of folk went to Wallace. Where else was I hearing back in
When I was in high school,
Living-
Montevallo. A lot of not Montevallo. What was it?
I was
They
like,
went
girl,
to
that's why I got my
Wallace
master's,
first.
girl.
They went to Wallace, then they went to Montevallo. My bad.
But it's another one. Wallace State. It's
There's a whole bunch of them in the state.
Bishop,
can't
no, Bishop is down by Mobile, right?
Yeah, there's Bevel State. There's
Bevel.
Bevel State.
Yeah.
That's it. So you hear about them, and then like now you hear about them in a different way.
Yeah.
Education is important, period, but it may not be the traditional route that gets you where you want to go.
You can go to Lawson State. Lawson State and Jeff State both have free CDL programs, commercial driver license programs.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, I always get it confused. One of them you get your CDL in 4 weeks, other you get it in 5 weeks. You come out making $80,000, $90,000 a year. Just get with a CDL. I mean, guys need to know this.
Maybe I'll do that too. Might
When
as
you got
well.
time for all that?
I'm fine. You should come with me.
No.
So there are cool things that you do too, and this is going to kind of segue us into the second half of the show. On the weekends, like we started the show talking about how tired we are from being productive during the week, and I think that people say, "Well, when you do what you love, you're not working." You're lying. I love what I do, and I'm definitely working hard, and it takes a lot of mental, emotional work, and so. By the time I love the weekends, not because it's time to sit down, but it's time to turn up. But this weekend, that was what was in my mind. But my body was like, no, you're going to turn down. If I were looking to date and to be, to be sought after, I would have to go out. Right.
Unless you're on the maps.
And see, do y'all do dating apps?
No.
Never. Anybody try them?
No.
I've tried them.
What did it work for you? Wait, before I say what I'm about to say, I think it may work better for men than it does for women.
Well, it depends on how you measure that.
Okay.
Like men get greater quality, women
Right.
get greater quantity. So it kind of like how you
fair.
measure that makes it different. I mean, women gotta find like the needle in the haystack men gonna mostly be getting needles, right? So,
Ooh.
well, let's not say mostly, but then like the odds favor men.
Okay.
I'm sure it does.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I'm on dating apps, but most of the time we don't get past the 3 lines in the conversation because I can already see it. It's not gonna work.
Do you keep it local?
Yeah.
And see, that's what I think I'm not gonna do ever again. I want to date local unless it's out of my race. It could be across state lines anyway. I just don't.
You should
know,
never foreclose the possibility.
don't foreclose it.
Nah. I got a lot of questions about dating apps, but I don't know. where to start.
Are dating apps like JUCOs? Like
I
What a-
If you are a person who is genuine in looking for something, you're gonna have a hard time. But if you stick with it, you'll find somebody that matches. It's the same as if you would go out in person, except you got 20 people that you can have that conversation with instead of the one you chose at the bar. I mean, it's just if you know what you're looking for and you're able to communicate and convey what you're looking for, you'll be able to find it. What we have is a
Really?
society that lacks the ability to communicate.
Is that right?
I
That's
can
wild.
communicate very well what I'm looking for, but
Do I find it?
Do I find
Well,
it?
when
Absolutely not.
when I say communicate, I don't mean just say, "Hey, this is what
No,
I
I
want.
got
Give
you.
it to me." It's like the essence of finding somebody who else can convey
That can
those
do the
things
same. Okay.
and can vet what they're communicating is actually in the person that they, matched with. You know what I'm saying?
And I think it's easier for people to fake the funk
On
in
an app. I agree.
non-personal because you can hear them, you can even sense a sincere, but it's just something about sitting across from a person, watching body language. Okay, it's like the thing they showed the other day. I don't know if you've seen it on Facebook. I got a picture in my phone. I'm gonna show it to you. But
Okay.
it was like they showed the top of this guy's torso,
Mm-hmm.
right? And he looked like this nice, strong, handsome fella. And then they showed you a full body picture of him, and he was like in some jeggings and some pointy toed shoes with a male bag, and I mean standing with an arch in all parts of his body. It's like you got to be careful because you get this picture of this strong top torso, right? And I had one of my ex-sister-in-laws. She used to take pictures of just the top part of it, the top torso, right?
Yeah.
And because she was beautiful in the face, but she wasn't proud of her body style
Okay.
or size
Okay.
in her own definition, not me saying that. But I used to, I'm like, you ain't got no more body. What the rest of you at? Are you just selling people this, you know what I'm
Just
saying,
the
this
top
cleavage
part.
line to the top of your head?
People do that.
And then people, it's like on Friday when the man said, you say you look like Janet Jackson.
You
But
look like Freddie Jackson,
you-
right. So catfishing is big on social, like on apps and dating sites. And I'm not gonna say that that's any concern that I have. I just personally have not, I don't know. I believe so Facebook is about, as far as I'll go with any type of acting like I know you and I really don't type thing, like conversing with people that we don't really know and then getting to know them. But dating sites where I'm actually looking for dates on an app, I would want to think that people that actually sign up and set up a profile are serious about it. But then at the same time, I don't know. So what sites have you all done? Let's do that first. Which ones have been?
0.
That's horrible. That's not the same person.
I got a question.
Tinder, Bumble, Hinge,
Hey.
OkCupid,
Hey, hold on.
eHarmony, Match.com.
Hey, I feel
Mingle.
this. I feel like this is a better one. Y'all ever been catfish before?
Yes.
How'd that go? You know?
I haven't. I mean, if we go into the deep end of catfishing, where like a whole person is pretending to be somebody
Yeah,
else
like real
wholly,
catfishing.
and you never meet them, nah, you gotta be the kind of gullible that none of us probably are for that to happen.
Man, tell. Oh, anyway, go ahead. What's up?
No, catfish was on height. I'm still working on my
height.
Yeah, because I'm 6 feet tall,
And
and I do prefer guys that can at least look me in my eye.
Okay.
man,
Girl.
I was told that he was 5'11". He's a good 5'8". And that's a major difference when you're meeting somebody for the first time.
Right.
Yeah.
So, okay.
I'm 5'9". I wish somebody would. Like, it don't matter.
If you show up and you told me that you were 6 feet.
No, I wouldn't tell you that.
No, you should have told me. If you tell me the correct height, that's one thing. But no, you lied about
So
it.
hold on. So if I'm on a dating app, right, and then we do, what do you swipe? I don't know, whatever you do, and you come across and see like somebody who is like whatever, but they shorter than 5'11", you out?
Well,
I'll be honest.
no.
I'm back. So-
I have been blessed by taking something off of me. I used to not date anyone under 6 feet tall.
Man,
I have changed my ways.
I'm a
Thank
mental
God.
giant. What's up?
But this
Holla
is
at your boy.
this is the thing. A lot of people, especially men, have confidence issues because of their height. But if you are 5'9" and you walk like you're the height you want to be, women will accept you for that height.
For sure.
Fuck
Women
yeah, let's walk that way.
understand.
For
I'm
sure.
5'9". I want to be 5'9".
I'm
What's
5'9".
up?
What,
Let's
what
go.
I'm saying is confidence that you have in how you carry yourself is what are going to gravitate women
Yeah.
towards you more so
Yeah.
than whatever you have.
Most definitely.
That's for men, but then for women, we like the things that you all say. You know, I love those stretch marks. I love that whatever that fupa. I love whatever. Anyway, we have to be confident. I think it's a different type of confidence. Well, we know this that men and women have when it comes to body image,
I don't know. I just know myself.
and you're confident.
I think the prerequisite-
Let's go.
It's like the
What you
prerequisite
gonna
for
do?
men is confidence. Like men have to have confidence to get there, and women don't have to have that confidence as far as men go. I think women have to find that man values them in ways so that their confidence
Right.
with that man can be built from that point.
Absolutely, like
ASAP Ferg got a song about this. Y'all know what I'm talking about. You know what I'm talking about.
which one is it? My grandmother's listening, and she wants to know what the song says.
No, ma'am.
Like, so
No, ma'am.
for as confident as we are, as we can be, for as experienced as we may be, how serious, like, I know that you still say what you need to say, but I know that, like, for the rest of us, we aren't married, we aren't connected in that way. So how serious are you, or how interested are you in being in a relationship? I'm just wondering, first of all, how important are relationships to you?
Well, if you're on a dating app, you out there looking, right?
Yeah, but that's why it's a question, because I don't know that means that you're really serious about relationship.
Are y'all serious about relationship? I mean, y'all put y'all on there, so it's a very public thing, right? You're putting yourself out there.
I mean, I'm serious. Definitely believe in the family unit. That's why I don't have kids.
Okay.
But at the same
what?
time, huh?
I don't just want to have children just
Oh, okay.
because.
Yeah. I was brought up on and it's crazy.
Gotcha.
I was brought up on the whole get married, then have kids. Now I'm 38. My mom like, hey, what's your problem? Like, seriously, this is what
Like-
you told me.
Mm. You could have done like the rest of us and just tried it one time, had a baby, and got a
Yeah.
divorce. But that's not like that seems to be the standard. Well, everybody that's 38 been married already and divorced once or twice
A lot of them,
already.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm wondering. Like at this point, how serious are we about relating in that way?
I think one thing that dating apps have exposed is that there are a lot of people who just want casual, non-committal experiences.
Yeah.
And we are in a society where before that happened, nobody wasn't coming out saying, I want to do something strange for some change. Nobody was saying that out loud,
Ugh.
right?
Then
So
we just
everybody
lost all
thought that we was
inhibitions.
all just waiting for marriage, and then we were getting shamed if you were shacking up, or shamed if you found out you were having premarital sex.
Yeah.
I think that has really, it's eased a lot of tension in our society, but has also curved it to a side that may be becoming unhealthy and
Ooh.
a little bit more dangerous than that middle ground. But that's because,
Mhm.
in Alabama, they won't teach sex ed, right? Because they're afraid that letting you know the knowledge will make you want to do it rather than arming you with the knowledge so that you can
When-
do it
when you do
safely
it
and without
anyway.
issues, right?
Yeah.
So I think that it's kind of eased a lot of that, but we still have a society that is shaming all of those things instead of understanding, like, this is the society we got, y'all. Like, this is what we got. Your
And it-
kids is finna be having sex, okay? It's finna happen. Those of you who are gatekeeping your kids from connections with the opposite sex, they trying to figure out how to do it in the woods. I'm just letting you know. I work with
And
kids.
then if they're
These are
not
the
doing it with the
stories.
opposite sex, they'll do it with the same sex.
yeah.
And we just go
Yeah.
to the mall and to the movies and have a sleepover. I mean, what are you saying?
Okay. I have
So,
I have
yeah.
another question,
Yes, sir.
because I'm lost. I think. Are you saying that dating apps? So they expose the fact that people just want to have more casual relationships?
Yes.
Can you tell that when you're on the app? Like when you scrolling through and swiping, like how long does it? Can you pretty much get it?
Women definitely can.
Women can get it.
I was just about to say, I
women
think that's
can
why
get
I'm
it
not
from
on them.
men.
Yeah.
They understand it from okay.
Well, either one of y'all can get on a dating app and have y'all a sexual encounter tonight if you want to. The women
Absolutely.
can. Men can't
Okay.
do that. Like some men can, you know, the ones who are farming for that on those apps, you know,
Okay.
by quantity sheer, they will find somebody who is looking for that.
Okay.
But if you are a person that's looking for a genuine relationship and you keep coming across people who want these casual encounters, that's the dilemma that women have. And I think that's the position that men fall into of, you know, just trying to have those kind of encounters.
Who's the minority? Do you think now on dating apps, is it the minority or the people who want actual relationships, or is it the other way around?
I think,
Or can you tell?
I think it's a mix. I think if you go on there and you find what you're gonna find when you're reading women's profiles is that most of them are looking for a serious relationship. But if you end up being a decent person that they feel the connection with, I think it can turn into more faster. But I think for women, it's probably hard to see on the surface it looking like men are looking for relationships. But in essence, I think what you need to know is what it is and what it ain't. When you know what
So
it
do you
is
put
and
that
what
in
it
your
ain't,
profile?
say what?
Do you put that in your profile?
Who, me?
People, should we?
Yeah, you should put what you're looking for in the profile.
Okay.
And you should, but more so than anything, you should have boundaries about when somebody expresses that they aren't going to deliver you what you're asking for, pending they telling the truth. You need to, you know, it's
Oh, boy.
exclusionary criteria.
So
Gotta go.
let's just be real. Like telling the truth. No matter if I meet you on a dating site, on my Facebook inbox, at the restaurant, at the gas station, you're probably not going to be telling the truth.
Here it is in the total. Life, right?
Yes.
Life in itself is full of manipulations and lies, right? And false isms and things of that nature. And when you look at it, it's hard, period, right? But I have all girls. And I talk to my girls and I share with them. And that ain't always been a saint. So I understand, right? And I'm like, but some of these situations, and I'm trying to figure out who raising these guys, first of all. I mean, it's like
The
Kate
streets.
said, she said 3 answers. You know, what you're doing, can I come over? Can you come pick me up? The penis pics on first conversations, you know what I'm saying? The naked mirror pictures, like, dude, are we really?
gosh.
So you think that this is going to impress? But here's the other thing of this: we have to be mindful. Somebody somewhere have fell for that or made. So it makes it even hard on those who are actually really looking for this because, as we said earlier, it's fishing, right? And it's just that it's fishing. If I throw enough lures out there, I'm gonna catch something.
Yeah,
And
you
women
gonna
are
catch
sitting and they
somebody.
want something solid, and it's like, what is it? What is solid? Because even in that, as a man, I can say there are a lot of men out here who are not solid as men because the foundation and the fundamentals are skewed, right? I told somebody I've met more men in the last 5 years that act like what you would consider woman type activity or issue or mindset, and I can't understand. I have more men that gossip, more men that the lady was saying the other day, I was telling a girl just today, I was telling about the show. She said she was planning a one night stand with a guy, right? She like, that's all I wanted to be. And he didn't call feelings. He texted me at 4:30 in the morning. He wanted to say, she's like, I didn't mean it to be that. I just wanted this. I was drinking. I wanted to go home with him. And now he got feelings and he wants it to be something totally different.
But
So
that's how
crazy.
it's changing as a defense. Like that the tables are turning in that way because boundary setting. If I've already seen this 100 times and I've tried this 200 times and it has always gone this way, maybe I need to change my approach. Maybe I just need to start scheduling one night stands or smash and grabs or whatever. You know, like some people women are thinking in that way because it hadn't fared well for them. So why not play the same game?
But you know, if we go back to before dating apps took off, there's no shortage of movies of people having struggles in the dating world.
Right.
It's not different. It's just like quantity is out there in front of it, and how you use it is important. So yeah, if you are used to sitting in front of somebody and that's how you found that value, then online dating ain't nothing but a precursor to having that sit down in front of them so that you can activate that system. It just gives you an opportunity to meet, you know, different
Multiple
people
people.
across a bunch of different, you know, areas. Because, you know, data shows that, like, you know, the idea of love and the one and soulmates, you know, says that, you know, your person is out there somewhere in this whole world, you know, but the reality is you finna be with somebody who working in the same building you work in.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And that's
So
not gonna go well.
It kind of like expands your ability to engage with people in the
Yeah.
world around you.
That same building thing, I don't know that that's a good thing. I tried that too.
Same building, same church, same community, same
Yeah.
a 5-mile vicinity
Oh,
is
5
where your
miles.
partner finna come
You're
from.
right. You're right. Unless you expand. So what I'm gonna do right now, before we jump into that, you're one person. That's the person for you. This is whose rib you come. Stop it. Lillian, maybe we should do something and just say this on air. You said guys that are what, 6 feet or 5'11"? What did you say?
5'11", you still look at me mad, yeah.
Okay, 5'11".
Okay.
So for you,
Look up the
5'11".
ASAP first.
What are some other things on the list?
Hold on, what'd you say, Chuck?
He's still talking about this song.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, so
Y'all gonna have to put me on to this
But,
song.
yeah, I need to know which one too. I like ASAP too. 5'11". What else?
It's strictly content and character. Everybody is different, so I can respect, everybody's difference. I really don't have a.
So you don't have a list on
Yeah.
years in
No.
years past. Too Pretty McCarroll had a list, and that was like School of Hip Hop Vital. That was the thing. She had this list. He got to be degreed up. He's got to be this. He's got to be that. He's got to have this. He's got to have that. She's probably, I don't know if she's married or not. She may be single still. I'm not sure. And I do want to follow up with her on that. It's been about 8-9 years ago when she had this list. But when you think about dating, are you open enough not to have a list? So what I was gonna say is maybe if your one requirement is 5'11" or taller, and my one requirement is that you have a vehicle and somewhere to live, maybe we should just put that out and see who responds.
That's very basic.
Chuck, that's where we
Is
are.
that bad though,
That's where we
Chuck?
are.
Is that bad?
Can you not be homeless? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Yeah.
In,
These
e-
streets are
in
rough.
essence, yeah.
The bar is
Um,
so low.
Yeah.
Well,
Let me play something for that.
living in the
Yeah,
basement.
so I
Can
mean,
he make less money than you? We
Yes.
talked about
Yes.
significantly.
Yes.
for me, I don't
Is there a
make a lot. Like, okay, go ahead. What you think? What you think, sis? 'Cause,
I'm gonna say no. There's no.
There's not a number.
can he make less than me? He can make less,
So he makes $50,000 less than you a year. I don't know how much you make.
probably $50,000. And no, he cannot make $50,000 less because that means that he doesn't make anything.
That's a homeless man that you don't want to who probably makes more than
Shut
50.
up.
I'm just saying.
Let me say this though. I think when it comes to that,
You tell me to
a
put
person
myself-
can
I
make
mean,
a person can make less than what you make,
yeah.
but they can't have less drive
Okay.
and can't have less value of themselves, and they help build you up in whatever area you are in,
Right.
because that has value to it. Whatever they do it well, and they have a passion for it.
Okay.
So then, if they help build up the situation,
Build
yeah,
up.
they can make less money than you, but they need to participate
Come on,
in
man.
the build up. They need to. If it's in your instance, if I'm with you, okay, you're a little tired. I'm gonna let me go wash the cars. Let me go see over the guys there. You don't have that part to do. Let me make sure this or this
Yeah.
is done to take something off your plate
Like
to
that.
add value to what you're doing. But I can't be laid up, feet up, you working, come home, what you got to eat. And here's my
Well,
pet
first of all,
peeve.
you're not
Sitting in
I'm-
the car while
no,
you pumping gas.
Yeah, you're not gonna
you
be in my
know,
house while I'm not
Sitting
here.
in the car while you pump gas.
Yeah. no.
That's not. I don't even date, but every time I see that, I want to just grab somebody out the car who is dating. Like, why are you pumping this
And make
gas?
him put
And
his
he'll say,
hand on the
"Boy,
pump.
But when we're talking about like women's autonomy and the forward progression of women, there are people who don't want to be defaulted to this role of you don't do this, I do this. Like, it's a lot of people like, and that's a conversation you gotta have. Like, some women do not want to just be looked at as something to be exclusively protected, exclusively, taken
need
care
room.
of. Yeah,
I need a little wiggle room
some
to be
people,
me.
and that's just the reality. That's a conversation that you need to have. It's like, how do you feel about me being somebody who opens doors and who pumps the gas and who does these things, versus if she been pumping her own gas since she's 16. Yeah, some women gonna be like, yeah, okay, that's cool, and some women gonna be like, no, I do this much. I don't need you to do
True.
But
that. And so
That's fine, but you don't end up with those people.
But
Like,
it
if you don't like the fact that I'm opening your door and all this other kind of stuff and pumping gas, like all that, then we just not gonna work out. So we don't even have to. It's not even an issue.
We can be friends.
Right.
Yeah, but
Maybe.
we don't have to have that conversation because
Right.
when we're first meeting and whatnot, you're gonna either open the door or not gonna open the door. You're
Right.
gonna either pay for my meal or you're not gonna pay for my meal. Those are natural things. I don't have to have that
They
conversation.
may be natural, but then I do feel that communication of basic things is kind of what messes us up later on because we didn't have the conversation. So what's
Well-
coming for us, we are well raised individuals. There are people who, well, yeah, I didn't know that was something that I had to do. Chivalry is fighting rules for me. I didn't know that was expected.
Sure. Not expected, but again, you just don't end up with those people. Or you do and they change. Right.
Mm.
Or they, you can say learn or modify or whatever. Like if you really into somebody and
They modify.
Now that part, yes.
Yeah.
They modify. I'm recently married. I'm 3 years in a new marriage, right? So I'm 3 years in, and I didn't. I was married for over 20 years, but I really didn't have to open doors. I did chivalrous things, but it wasn't a requirement.
Yeah.
But my new wife, she requires this. Like I literally walked up, I was like, "Why you?" Ain't? And then I realized, hold up, you ain't open the door because you waiting on me to open the door. So it was like, okay, so now. Wherever we are, you're going to see me walk to the opposite side. I'm going to open the door. You're not going to see me just walk off from the car and look back. I'm going around the car and open the door because it was required. And like Chuck said, I had to modify if that's who I chose to be with. And so, for that part of that part of it. So it was things that you will change if somebody gives you the criteria and you truly want to be with them.
And that's what I'm saying, because that could have easily been exclusionary criteria if you had not had that conversation or those opportunities to see that, and you got to this point where this extreme thing. So we talking about arbitrary stuff like opening doors, but what if it was the case that when you have a child, I expect you to stay at home, but you never had that conversation? Like I don't expect you to work type situation where have those kind of conversations. I think I'm talking about when somebody pigeonholes their self into this role and they don't communicate to people that these roles are what I expect. And it gets to a point where you're too deep into the relationship to really turn around. And that happens a lot when people have kids.
Right.
I mean, what are you doing? What is the woman doing about working in that case? Some men expect certain things. Some women expect certain things. Some women have careers, and then when that child come about, you expect them to have a different role where they want equity in the relationship in terms of taking care of their child. But like, that's not what our society done taught us as men for real to do. So there's a lot of barriers in that.
I would want my child's father to know what size clothes the child wears, and most don't know that. I would want them to know some of their teachers' names. Y'all don't be knowing that. I would want them to know what pediatrician they go to. Y'all don't really know that.
How do you not know that?
Because they don't.
Like
Chuck.
I don't understand this.
So if you had children, those are things that you wouldn't know because they're your children too, right?
Yes,
you would.
It is.
That's why there's certain things they're just not fathomable.
I'm telling you,
don't get it.
They don't know.
Like I had a conversation. This is not about relationships, but it's sort of.
They don't know.
I had a conversation with somebody who was talking about every time there's a family get together, they go visit family, whatever. They all stay in hotel rooms. They don't all stay together. And I was like, this is insane to me. It's not right or wrong. It's just completely antithetical to the way I grew up.
So wait a minute. These are different. Like one family, immediate family members are like
cousins. They pull up to some all right. If everybody's located in one city, when they come through, they stay in the hotel rooms. I'm like, what are you talking about? Like that, because that's just not
what you
I
did.
understand that people do that. It's just not something I can even fathom.
Okay.
Same thing about not knowing child's pediatrician and like you're there. Like this is our kid.
No, she does that.
But this is where we get into patriarchy, where the man's role has been to work and bring money home, and he get off and he kick his feet up on the couch. And women are the ones who just take care of the home. They do the stuff. They run the errands. They know which snacks the kids like. It's little things that like husbands haven't traditionally known.
But this ain't Mad Men, and it's not 1950 no more. Y'all telling me this still happens in 2023?
100%. Like there's a whole dialogue.
Impossible.
Like there's a whole dialogue going on now about married single mothers.
Yeah. Okay. And I just had this conversation.
Who tend to the child exclusively, and so they feel like single mothers in the sense that and a lot of them view their husband as just another child because it's just somebody else to cook for, clean up after, and take care of. And again, the husbands just fulfill this role of provider exclusively.
And these are marriages we're talking about. We're not talking about babies, daddies, or whatever. That's wild. Like you're right there as your kid. Like, how do you not know these things?
Weird. Society, bro. I'm just gonna say it. Society has scaled, descaled, off the rail, made a lot of things okay. And not that they are, but we have accepted.
Just the norm.
Yeah, we have accepted things as norm, and that's on every level. Your day job puts you in front of people, and even some of the excuses you hear about why I didn't show up, why I didn't pay it. Oh, or why I'm not here today, or y'all should just excuse me because I had, So the world has told people that this is okay, and you know what? Be okay with it. So don't worry about what the standard was. We're gonna create a new standard, and we're gonna make your old standard, because the people that's listening to you right now see you as like, he's an old folk. Where you get those old ways from? Make you strange. I'm saying the people that are listening out who have accepted
Most
the
of
new
them know
flavor.
me. So
So let me say this. Thinking about good, like how we came up.
it's just weird.
My dad's amazing to me. Like, he's amazing. I see you share the same sentiments about your dad, but I can almost guarantee you our daddies did not know what size shoes we wore. My dad was in the house, very much involved,
fair.
but like, I don't know what size shoes she wears.
That's fair. That's
You know what I mean?
But that's fair. But that's fair.
Like they were,
but it's still. But my parents were both there, I
Right.
guess, separately at the same time, but
Right.
in different aspects.
yes.
But I also think if my dad didn't know, he would ask, right? Like, and now if it changed, he might not keep up with it. But,
Right.
but that's still weird to me.
Who took you to get a haircut?
Both.
Okay, and that's the same for my brother. Your sister. Did your dad take your sister to the beauty shop?
No idea. My sister's 13.
Oh,
years
yeah.
older,
Okay.
So our dynamic, I don't know.
For us, my dad really didn't. That's something that he may have dropped me off, but he didn't like. He wasn't involved in it. Like, I didn't ask him when I could cut my hair, or if I could color it, or it just, he wasn't really involved. Even when I dated, he would have moments of things that he would say to me, but it was my mama who kind of like, no, or like it was.
I think I realized a while ago I sort of live in a bubble. And I live in a bubble because like my closest friends are like good human beings, right? They are like, so my friends that are married, my
Okay.
closest friends,
Okay.
like they are involved in their daughters, whatever, their sons and daughters. They know all of that kind of stuff. So it's just sort of.
And the reason that I'm exposed to this probably more than not is because I've been working
It's
in
because
the
of your
community
field, yeah.
since 2010, like in their houses. And I've worked with enough families where the mom and dad separated, and I've heard the mom complain about how the daddy didn't know the pediatrician, like all of the things that we were saying is where, like, because she was carrying the bulk share of the child rearing, and fathers didn't know. And it's not like it can't happen on the other side,
Sure.
right? But society just don't set us up for that, because there have been fathers where the mom has been uninvolved, and it's like daddies are the ones showing up doing the stuff, and the daddies are the ones bringing the kids to the counseling sessions, but society don't set that scenario up the way that it sets up for men to be just the providers and the women to be the childbearers.
I actually see that a lot more, oddly enough, in my day job.
What?
The opposite, where the guys are infinitely more involved in their daughters and their children's lives and the mother, or the roles may have reversed, where they're the ones that, like, I got to rush because I got to go get my daughter from school or my son from school because my wife is doing something. So it's just weird. I just don't see it. I'm not saying
there are some different dynamics. You are right. There are some different dynamics. In the past couple of situations where I've worked with families, I have seen mom and dad bring the child, or I've seen a dad bring the child, but then a mother followed up. So I've seen them involved. But even in my own situation, my child's father is involved, but he's married with 3 other smaller children. I don't know that he knows what sizes they wear either, but he's in the home with them.
But that's why I asked about what y'all were talking about earlier. We're talking about people who are married to one another, as opposed to, I got this situation, that situation. I can understand that maybe a little bit more. I can conceptualize it a little bit more.
Well, and I'm gonna throw some data out there. Data shows that Black males are more present in their children's lives than any other race. Data shows that. Data also shows that when men fight for custody of their children, they get the custody more of the time than women do. Yeah. And there's a narrative that the court systems ain't fair to men that keeps men from fighting for their kids. And so men don't fight as they should. But data shows that if men who fight for their custody get custody more of the time than
You wouldn't know
women
that
do.
though, because I do think, like, again, it's sort of my day job adjacent. I used to see that sometimes too, and it's just, I think men, when it comes to custody, just because like divorce and alimony and custody is formulaic. It's just literally numbers, how much you make, and it's a formula. They feel like it's always stacked against them, and I see that because like you walk into a courtroom, it's probably a woman judge, it's
Mhm.
probably a woman prosecutor in the family court level. So it's weird. And you're right. I know guys that fight for their kids and they get them, or they fight for child custody modifications because something has changed and they get them. But I don't think that people really know that, right? Because I feel like men just sort of think it's stacked against them already.
Yeah, it's a lot of systems that convey that to men.
Yeah.
Like within the manosphere, you got men's rights activists who literally say it's no point of men fighting for custody because we're going to lose. Like that's
And
a
that's
whole
not the case.
dialogue in that community.
Yeah.
And it's not the case when you fight for it at all.
So this kind of leads us to the idea of the conversation that was presented, and I have a group that's going off about this conversation. So thank you all for tuning in. But check this out.
Wait, going off how? What they talking about?
They're chiming in about what we're talking about, and just kind of, a group of women that have children. Some have husbands or partners that live with them that may or may not know these things or may not be as involved as
We
they
all live
should
in
be.
the same place. How do I not know? That's just
Because I
weird.
don't have to. Like,
Okay.
Chuck, I don't know how much gas you got in the lawnmower and you cut the grass. I don't care. I don't know.
That's not a human being. That's a machine with some grass.
I mean, like, that's what you tend to. So you tend to that. You tend to them. I don't know. You figure it out. I thought that may be the attitude. I don't know. But when you start thinking about the structure of family and what family looks like. So when I say polygamy, polyamory, people immediately go to sex. Like anything that we talk about DMR based, everybody's mind goes straight to sex. They don't think about the family structure and how if there is a mom and a dad and children, and then we bring a girlfriend in, that she's going to help our family system. People don't ever think that.
At some point they do, but I think that it is an over sexualized community.
Yeah.
In that way.
We just want to have a lot of sex with a lot of people. That's what this is about. And I can't say that is.
Or the thought about it is it's over sexualized.
Yeah.
It may not be in reality, but that's what we think.
Some people say it's for more income. Like okay, so look, let's just cut to it. Talking to a couple this week, or was it last week? And this is a couple that was thinking about doing like a podcast about their lifestyle, just to introduce people to it and like show them that it's not just sex. And their relationship started based on, I love my partner, but I've had issues with different things within the relationship, and we've been working on them. And this has been a great solution to bring somebody else in that actually speaks to those things.
Like an emotional support animal?
I'm
just saying, because like, what'd I do? What?
An emotional support
Wow.
partner.
Wow.
But I mean, honestly, like if it was described that way, it could be a support animal. It could be a new hobby, but no, we want a new person.
It depends on how that was introduced. Was it introduced because somebody is cheating?
Yes.
And now they feel like to curb that cheating. That's stupid.
Yeah, but that's what happened, and now they're happily ever after.
Why?
That's
some things are dumb.
That was stupid. Huh?
Some things are just dumb.
But that's what happened. The couple is.
Because in most cases, that is never ideal for the person that's got cheated on. It's just the way that they can keep that other person.
Structure to
I don't understand how it's not about sex. That's what I mean when I say emotional support, whatever. Like,
I love you.
I like you. I love you, but you don't clean the house.
Yeah.
So we're gonna have somebody else here that we in a relationship with that clean the house.
Yeah.
Like, come on, man.
Get a maid.
Get a maid.
So
let's be clear. We sexualize monogamous relationships. Like we sexualize sex is a part of all the relationships. Like early relationships is a game to see how long it takes for us to have sex with each other, because that's what we want in this society. Everything is sexualized. So the idea that non-monogamous relationships are somehow sexualized significantly different than when you want to be with one person and you want to be physical with them that's an illusion. Like everything is sexualized. I think making it seem sexual on the surface is a way to ostracize it and make it seem like it's so outside of the norm.
Okay, here we are. We're here now. Comment on social media says polygamy is traditional culture. It's monogamy that is not.
Sure, but hold on, I'm still caught on this. So
Okay.
tell me,
Okay.
other than sex, what are we bringing this other person into this relationship to do?
It
For-
depends
like,
on
for
your.
what?
It depends on your
No,
relationship.
the couple you were talking about. What do they have somebody else?
I want them to do this podcast so bad. So basically, they brought the person in because it was a fix. We agree that now this makes us both happier. I didn't know it would make me happy too.
What was missing? That's what I'm saying. Like,
Sex.
other than sex, what was missing?
Sex.
Variety.
What for a
The
relationship?
V is for variety.
For a relationship that a
Okay.
person
Good
look,
plug.
hold on. For a relationship in which a person is bought in like that, yes, it's for sex because somebody
Yes.
is cheating. But let's start from
Now it
scratch
has
with
words.
people who are in polyamorous relationships.
Okay.
These are people who, from their vantage point, they are capable of loving more than just how much one person is allocated love.
Okay.
So inherently, that's how I am. I can love multiple people.
Like a
right?
polycule? Is this what we're talking about?
Well, I mean,
Poly
just
mean-
a
No,
poly.
polycule is a.
But let's so a polycule is made up of multiple poly individuals. So
Right.
let's just say one of those individuals is capable of loving more than our society represents monogamous relationship being. So what those people are trying to achieve is obtaining different versions and types of love to have different experiences with different people, and they're made to be able to do that.
Non-sexual sometimes too.
Sure.
All the ways. I mean, polyamorous relationships, when you have multiple partners, it's still just multiple micro monogamous relationships, essentially. You still have to tend to the one individual person while you're with them,
Right.
in the sense that when you're with them, this is my relationship. And then you just happen to have an arrangement where you can go to another one outside of that.
I get that. I'm talking about what she's talking about. Unless I'm misunderstood. I understand what you're saying.
Oh, yeah, that's problematic. So you
I'm
can-
really-
talking about,
hold on, I'm
people,
about to see if they
people
can-
like
Be a part of.
bringing them into this relationship for. I just don't.
it is for sex.
Thank you.
It's for sex.
Okay.
100%. It's for that.
All right.
You're not trying to fix the relationship.
Right.
The man is, or the woman, however it goes, is trying to get their sexual needs met because
Cool.
they can't figure out. But the issue is that they have a character flaw. The issue is that it don't matter if there's two people in here that's supposed to tend to those needs. You're also probably still going to see
gonna
other
happen
people
again.
outside of that
It's
relationship,
gonna happen again.
outside of that arrangement. You got to work on yourself for that, not bring another person into the kind of, run interference for your infidelity.
Hold on. I was trying to find a video
Is that someone singing?
of someone else that we shared earlier in the week, but I'll share it. I may share it later. But either way, different couples do different things for different reasons. And the idea that now this is such a loud topic, like people are speaking out about polyamorous relationships. Monogamous relationships seem to be causing a lot of stress and a lot of drama. And it would be easier if we're just open about who we are and how we are and bring other people in or date other people or be open, or at least I can be open right here in the middle with this person. Y'all don't have to know about each other, or we can all be together this way, or we can be together this way. And there are different ways that we can relate together.
I would like to see the white paper. If people are honest about this, I would probably like to see the white paper on this, because I would imagine that those relationships fail at a very similar clip to
With
like
no
very similar.
rules.
to monogamy, like just one, like two
Right.
people.
Right.
It's just different. It's just because losing partners when you have multiple partners is still different than
Yeah.
losing just your
Yeah.
exclusive
Yeah.
soul partner, right?
I see.
So
I see that.
it's a different experience. It's not like this isolated, lonely journey when you have other people that can
Right.
share in that. And the healthiest of healthy poly relationships have people that can share that and connect with their people and be surrounded by those who understands those losses. There's certain things that's treated different, even though on a Venn diagram there's a lot of overlap between both of them.
Right. Well, we got some comments. Polygamy or having more than one wife was a system established in order to take care of women, because we always have had more women than men. It takes more women to populate society than it takes men. Okay, that's the first comment. Then he says, no, they don't fail as much. No, they don't fail as much, and children are taken care of.
So Jeffrey is talking exclusively about polygamy, which he is likely right, because there's a big power dynamic. There's a big religious dynamic when it comes to most polygamous relationships. So yeah, polygamous relationships don't fail at as high a rate. But when we're talking about polyamory,
Yeah, that's
which
what-
is when I talk about poly, I'm talking about polyamory.
That's what-
Polyandry
And so
and polygamy, I ain't really talking about those.
And then let's be clear about that too. So from a therapeutic standpoint, I'm working with couples that are involved or looking to engage in polyamory.
Right.
Polygamy. Let's talk about the difference between the two.
Polygamy is a man that has multiple wives. Polyandry is a wife that has multiple husbands. Polyamory is more kind of like a freestyle love, engagement type
It's
situation.
a posse cut.
Which is what is more comfortable for people that don't know the rules, I would say. So a lot of times, what I'm gathering and what I'm hearing and what I'm seeing is that people will engage in these situations out of curiosity, but end up being in disastrous situations because of the lack of communication, lack of understanding about the why. Why are we here? Why are we doing this? Is it just sex? Is it really companionship? Is it that we all care about? Like, no communication, lack of
I was
communication.
just about to say that a lot of this is lack of communication and the fact that people they think that they're mentally strong enough for a lot of things. People think that they are. And once they get involved in it, once the freshness or what they call a new car smell, I want that car right there.
Yeah.
Once you get that first maintenance bill on that car, once you find out them tires are $289 per
Each?
tire, you know what I'm saying? And the love
Low
nuts,
profile.
So it's like, now it ain't all that great to me because I have to. So a lot of times it's miscommunication or non-communication, and it's people who are just misinformed too, or doing it sometimes just faddish.
Just trend, it's
trending
trendy.
and faddish. Let's do that today.
Is it a
And
fix? Go ahead.
Everybody got a plan until they get punched in the mouth.
Oh, okay. Go
Let
ahead.
me add that, like, what we talking about falls under the category of ethical non-monogamy. What also falls under that umbrella is swinging, open relationships, couple swapping.
Right.
Those are the just sex parts of ethical non-monogamy.
Those are people that got pineapples in their passenger seat at Mountain Brook.
You're upside down. If you see an upside down pineapple, you better
know what it is.
Somebody trying to get you.
Okay,
Somebody is trying to get you.
Hold on,
I got a rock.
This is vital because a lot of people don't know. All right, sure.
Watch the pineapples, yo.
A lot of
Mountain Brook and
people.
Homewood on Thursdays.
Oh, that's where. Okay, I'll be
So
over
the
there.
covert code for swinging is an upside down pineapple.
All right,
So,
but you put it where?
Well, if you are in, if you go hang out with your friends that's a couple, and it was a pineapple right side up somewhere, and then it's upside down at some point, they trying to see if you know what's being talked about.
Well, we know now because it's vital. Let's play.
Yeah,
Well,
friends
I
might
used
be
to
trying
like
to get you.
pineapples, but
I like
It ain't like
cube.
that Kevin Hart joke, pineapples as a safe word type
Right,
situation.
it ain't safe.
But it's like upside down pineapple is like language that's trying to be spoken to you without speaking out loud in the swinging community.
so
Pressure.
right. Well, I remember there was a movie, and I cannot remember the movie, but it was a way that men challenged other men to see if they were gay. So it's pretty much the same thing. Like they were tapping their foot, they'll tap their foot in the bathroom, and it says, hey, I'm trying to invite you. So if I walk into a restaurant or whatnot, do they have a physical pineapple? Is it a picture? Is it a t-shirt?
Oh, from the stories I've read and heard and talked about with people, it's usually in a more intimate setting. It's not like out there. It's like once you're comfortable enough with us to come to your house and we've communicated that we fool with you like that, it's like the signals are finna show up. If you don't have somebody who will be direct with you like that, it'll be like, look, we just want to get something in with you. That's what we're trying to do. Which some people would do, but outside of that comfort or trying not to lose that relationship, it's like if you know what that means, you just know what that means. If you know what it means, you can either address it or not. And that's just one of those, coded language for
Like the 4th Avenue White Tower.
Hmm?
Like the 4th Avenue White Tower.
What?
Okay. Yeah. If you see a car 4th Avenue downtown round
Put a wet
but the White Tower, the White Tower is on the dashboard on the seat. They looking for boys at night. So it's
Dang.
It's
So
crazy.
where you learn?
I'm telling you,
Is it
I
a
work
book?
for the police department. I've seen and I've when you talk to people, they tell you stuff, and it's like there's so many things out
They
here.
don't be telling me this
That's
when I talk
crazy.
to
Like
them.
you need to find out because you got to know fool around and grab that White Tower, you be in trouble. That's
another one is a white woman who has a queen of spades somewhere.
Somewhere like where?
It could be a tattoo. It could be a jewelry piece.
And what's she trying to do to me?
She's trying to find
Yeah.
young young black bucks, basically.
Huh. Okay.
Wow.
Yeah.
For me, all right.
It's just
Okay.
but it's just there's a whole system of coded language that goes into some of
We
these
should do
communities.
a talk night and just learn codes. I find this quite interesting. There's a comment that came back up, and I guess he said y'all didn't answer it the first time, so I'm gonna ask again. He said, "But what about men's standards for women?" Right now, we talking coded language because that's vital. I see a lot of things, and I'm just trying to see have I been green to something that I've seen an upside down pineapple. Have I seen that?
Really
Have I heard someone
tapping
tapping their foot in the restroom?
Don't
A
make
white
fruit salad for me
towel
when I
on
come to
4th
your house anymore,
Avenue.
okay?
Hey, let me answer his question.
Have I seen these
let, me,
things?
let me answer his question. He said the standards for men's standards for women in what degree? Because standards have just really changed across the board. So it's not a one side of one gender
Is he-
situation.
Is he referencing when y'all was talking about what y'all want for men? Is that the reference?
Yeah, I think that's where it was at, talking about the standards. But if you let's look at, he said yes, but let me just say this. If you look at what we call the world, we look at America culture, we look at society, right? The game has changed so hard and so swiftly. We was having this conversation the other day about, matter of fact, a comedian was talking the other day about when you go to certain towns. He said he had visited Atlanta, right? And he was like, he was made to feel like him being a heterosexual was wrong. Like people looking at look at him with that girl on his shoulder. Look at him with his old liking women little self. You know what I'm like? I'm wrong because I want to be a heterosexual now. So and it's just things are flipping.
Yeah.
So don't give us the calls about
Not-
homosexuality.
But
I'm
not
just
just the
utilizing that.
pineapple, but
It's just things. The world
it's flipping.
is flipping, and the things that you learn. Or I'm the oldest in the room right now, so the things that I learned, as a standpoint or a standard, we talking 3 generations worth of changes. So now it's like, what are y'all talking about? And the only reason I know a lot of it is because I've been involved, like you're in the community. I've been involved with children and teaching children and around youth departments and kids for these last 30 years. And it's like, are y'all serious? Yeah. And they'll tell you and talk to you, be like, they dead serious. Just like when I learned about the lipstick parties that the girls were having at one time. Remember the lipstick parties? And then they would tell it the falsehood about, oh, have anal sex because you can't get pregnant and stuff like that. It's a lot of things that society has thrown out there to make stuff workable for them, and they've accepted it.
Okay, so lipstick parties. What?
You wear the different color lipsticks and that party.
Pelagia that out. And
Okay, we'll talk about that one off the air.
Oh my gosh,
Let's
I'm
see.
so green.
We want our women feminine, fit, beautiful, inspirational, and submissive.
So
Jeffrey, let me see your picture.
This is what I'm
first of
gonna
all.
say. So this is what I'm gonna say. Jeffrey sound like he's on the red pill train of this one size fits all way that men want women to be, but that's not necessarily the reality. And what I say is, if a Jeffrey wants that woman, then a Jeffrey has to go find that woman, right? Every man doesn't measure women by these external qualities that you can see.
Wait a minute, Jeffrey said no. I've been like this all my life. I was born an alpha male.
But first of all, is he interested?
But you're using the current language of what they use right now. Even if you have been like that your whole life, you're using their language right now.
And the other question for me, Jeffrey, is first of all, are you in a relationship? And secondly, can you define these words that you're describing? Because I'm gonna tell you the hardest word out of your whole situation is submissive.
Okay.
But let's go back for that. Inspirational. What inspires you? Because lazy might inspire me. I might like to be a guy that likes to help lazy women. I mean, so you have to define these things. Also, when you say respectable, because respect is a whole nother word that can come out, and people have different ideologies of it. So I hope that you can communicate your definition for this when you're talking to a woman.
Even feminine.
I will say, I was just gonna say, when I see and hear feminine, fit, beautiful, inspirational, and submissive, so like I
Be
would
fat and fit.
when I think about that and I think about myself, I'm like, well, okay, I say what I feel. I eat fried food. I say bad words. I do things. I like motorcycles. I'm outside in the yard. I don't mind. I got a trailer for I do things that guys do from time that would be considered, masculine or whatever. Beautiful. I feel like okay, cool. But submissive, all of those different things, I would have to know. I would have to know that I speak to those, or that those things are a part of me. And then my standard of what they are for me may not be at all what they are for you. So how,
Communication.
yeah, like how does that go? Because what I just said to him may sound like, nah, Woosie, that's not you. That's what that may sound like. So I want to know. Hey, Tracy, she
We,
says,
you know.
who is we though? Speaking for all alpha males or what? So yeah.
See, what you spoke earlier about, these qualities that you have, and like the reality is we grade on a scale, right? Your highest quality can be a substitute for what your lowest quality is, even if it's something that we desire to have. It's like we measure everybody like that. Something that you desire to have, if they are lower in it but have other qualities, if you have redeeming qualities in many instances, that's a lot of the time what bring us into and out of relationships. What that kind of dialogue does is it pigeonholes you into not even being able to do that. You're looking for this
I got a list,
very narrow thing
yeah.
that you're not going to find specifically exactly how you want it in a lot of ways, which is the reason I think that a lot of the guys in these kind of circles be single. Not saying you single, Jeffrey, but that's the scope of every red pill dude you see on the. It'll be so easy for them to have their woman out there validating what they saying. None of them do.
Is it usually like connected to some type of religion? Like this type of dialogue right here with the idea for that of a woman, and like you said, the red pill dude. Is that what that is?
Yeah, Christianity.
Oh, I thought you were saying like Hebrew Israelites.
Any of them, like any religion that says women are supposed to be this way. I mean, he's saying stuff that the pastors' wives be like sometimes in the most extreme sense of that that word, right? But also Islam, Muslims, like it's a lot of different religious doctrines that put men on at a higher tier, put women at this place where they're supposed to be this feminine, which means taking care of the kids, where they're supposed to be fit, and which is under what a man desires, their wife to be.
Skirt, long blue jean skirt, hair uncolored. You do no lashes.
So somebody
no
out there defines that as feminine, the traditional.
Yeah. Sense. Okay. So yeah, I'm just wondering about that. So like in a situation where our marriage is or our relationship has worked, but like it's just kind of like, and we want to do something different. We want to spice it up and whatever. We're gonna bring somebody else in. Is that okay? Like, because I'm just hearing that that's a lot of where we are now, and if polygamy and even polyamory and anything poly, if that's what the answers are now, because so many people we see that one person just ain't it. Is that not okay?
I think that if the couple agrees upon it, whatever you think is going to keep your relationship good, fresh, new, whatever they're looking for, I say go for it.
I think reality is key. Reality and mental stability. Don't agree to something that you can't keep up with. I mean, you just really you have to do your research, get your knowledge, because this is more than, even when you say it's just a one-time thing, or you say y'all together and then all of a sudden you mad because you found out he spoke to her without you being present. There's also rules to the game.
Hold on. Any man that allows a woman to bring another man into a relationship, that man is a damn fool. But it's okay if I allow my man to bring another woman into the relationship.
Because that's been a stigma and in life for the longest. You threesomes, when you talk to a guy about threesome, it's for the most part 80-90%. It's always a guy thinking about him, his woman, and another woman. Let her come in there and talk about threesome. If she ain't talking about her girlfriend and him, he got a whole issue going on with.
They're gonna bring up that's a train. They're gonna say that's not a threesome anymore. That's a train.
All right,
well,
I gotta play this.
Jeffrey finna say men are different than women.
Right, you're not supposed to do that.
Women don't do that. Men can.
Before we get out of here, let me play this for you.
My husband of 26 years, and this is Tiger, my husband of 10 years. Look at this. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. Carl and I are entrepreneurs. We run several companies online, and we've written several books together.
For a living, I'm an investor. I sit around and look at numbers and charts and watch stock market all day.
Every lady should have two husbands. I'm legally married to Carl for the past 26 years. We have 3 kids together. When we decided that we wanted to have this multiple relationship structure in our marriage, we went straight to our kids and talked to them about it. We told them exactly what it was, exactly what it was not, and we always kept the door open for them to ask questions, share their thoughts, opinions, feelings, and we always supported them.
All right. Get a different task. But did you see the legs on there?
I have other tasks. In the 12th year of our marriage, Carl and I decided that I was going to have multiple partners because I had met and fallen for another guy. So I came back and reported that to Carl.
So we decided to talk about it. Like, what do we do? How do we go about this? And that began a 2-year journey of Kenya and I just kind of discussing things. We just had to figure things out. So we discussed it for a number of years. I finally came into the knowledge and understanding about feminine, expression, to realize you have to allow women to be free and express themselves. And as a man, I just support her in doing that.
All right. Well, that's that. So that's what it came from. That's where the conversation came from. I shared that earlier in the week. And the lady has 2 husbands. And this is the Fast 5. These are the final 5 minutes of the show. What do we have for that video? Because she had love and concern for someone else. And her husband was like, okay, well, bring him in.
Well, the guy they brought in looks quite sassy to me.
I didn't see that. I don't know how y'all jump straight to
The
that.
contact is something. It's either the contact. It's something the way he hold his mouth. It's something that screams sassy to me.
My
I'm
definition.
gonna watch it again.
My definition of what just went on there was you have to listen to keywords. Keywords. She's very controlling. I think she was.
She did not say control.
No. She's controlling because she controlled the situation because she said, I did this, I did that,
Yeah, she
and
did say
then
that.
Carl and I did this.
Because I said it,
That's
Carl.
right. That's right. And it's
Okay.
like, and she utilized Carl's love or that essence of love for her against Carl. This is what I want. And if you want to make me happy, then we're going to do this.
But he
Well,
had
let's-
choices
so-
too.
Yeah, that's what I'm finna say.
But I'm saying, but she utilized it against him and he fell for it or whatever.
But it's up to, like, if you don't want to be in that arrangement, you cannot be in that arrangement.
But I love you so much. I'll be in
But-
anything
And
Yeah,
you ask me
I think
to.
that's what happens. That some partners get sucked into it just because I don't want to lose my
Exactly.
my partner.
And you
that's
manipulate my
person.
love for you. And whatever you need me to do, I'll do it. Just don't leave me.
But it don't have to be like that, though. It don't have to be that degree. It could be that after 26 years, they more business partner than they are intimate and connected in that way. And maybe they've been sleeping in separate bedrooms already. And he just happened to be a man that's open enough and secure
bring him
enough
over
for
here.
that kind of thing to be the case. Because it's like, I mean, if I had a choice between
Bring him over here for us.
if I had, because there's people out there, if they had a choice between losing their 26-year relationship and they partner engaging with somebody else, it wouldn't be an easy, okay, well, I'm out. Some people would think about that and consider it. I mean,
Okay.
I'm sure he could have left. And even if somebody else being controlling, don't mean you can't go. He's just be like, nope, I'm out. You can leave,
Oh man,
So-
Jeffrey Cobb says, Dwayne, you said it. She's a Jezebel. That's the answer to all these.
Is that what-
It's the woman. She's a whore.
That's what I said.
Jeffrey ain't got a Facebook profile picture
I
on
I bought a
purpose.
picture.
He ain't got a picture on purpose.
I just want to see his relationship status.
Jeffrey, please call in real quick.
Hey, we have a comment from a group, and I got to read it. People don't like being uncomfortable. The moment you feel less fulfilled, now we want extra people, sex elsewhere. The next thing will never be enough. So, is that the answer to this whole conversation? That it just would never be enough.
Let
Got
me-
another one that says, "What's good for the goose is still good for the gander."
Let me clear something up.
Clear it up.
A triad is the hardest form of polyamorous relationship.
Okay.
It is hard, the hardest. Most polyamorous relationships are people who are solo poly or people who are in a V, where it's one person and 2 on the other end
Right.
that don't engage with each
And
other.
I showed y'all these hand signals earlier on. We'll do more education behind the scenes. So what's the easiest, Eddie? What you think?
Probably solo poly.
That's the V.
No, that's an individual who
Oh,
has-
that just kind of
well, solo poly are people who, the ones I met, have such strong boundaries. They know when to be in and when to be out. Because
right.
yeah, they can go into unhealthy stuff. But a V is the second easiest one. It's where your relationship with one person is this thing, and you have another relationship with somebody else, and they don't intermingle.
We're gonna
They
keep
don't connect.
educating you. Solo poly people, stand up. Everybody else is continuing in monogamy. Do it healthily. Take care of yourselves. Be vital this week. We'll be back next Sunday, hopefully. All right. Y'all be good.
All
be
right.
vital. All right.
I'm coming
Hey,
home.
man.
All right.
I'm coming home, babe. I'm coming home. I'm coming home.
I ain't want to.
I'm coming home.
Baby, do it.
I'm coming home. I warned her. I told her, I don't think you want to listen to this show.
Okay, so solo